coming to the end of the story of the universe in a rock, and this was very much Vasistha's first-hand account of his enlightenment practice, and it's now being summed up by the sage who fell from outer space. The sage continued, "This has happened today. This is mine. This is his. Occupied with such thoughts, people do not realize the passing of time. We have eaten and drunk a lot, we have roamed a lot, and we have experienced pain and pleasure. What is left to be done? How shall we gain supreme peace?" So this is our life. We reaffirm our reality from moment to moment by saying, this is what's happening, this is what's important, this is what I give my attention to. We get caught up in notions of what is ours and what is somebody else's, notions of ownership. These are all ramparts of the ego sense. We eat, we drink, we move around, we experience pain and pleasure. This is life, this is life. It consists of a variety of behaviour. I think this is perhaps one distinction that we can make between ourselves as human beings and other sentient beings. We have a greater variety of behaviour. Dogs have certain behaviour. They do doggy things. Cats do behaviour which we associate with cats. We all know the difference between dogs and cats. One dog's behaviour isn't that different from another dog's. If you know how to relate to one dog, there's a good chance that you'll know how to relate to many other dogs. So there is a much more limited variety of doggy behaviour, of dog behaviour, than there is of human behaviour. But there are characteristics of human behaviour which psychologists perhaps are busy categorising. But the point here is, although there's a lot of variety, it's a limited variety. And how often do we want to keep playing around in that particular candy store? What other option is there? What is left to be done? How shall we gain supreme peace? All trees are wood, all beings are flesh, all earth is clay. Everything is tainted by pain and impermanence. In what shall I repose confidence? In other words, what is your rock? What is that which is eternally reliable? Who is my protector here? Neither wealth, nor friends, nor relatives, nor acquaintances, or pleasures. All these are themselves victims of time. Whom shall I trust when I realize that everyone is bound to die today or tomorrow? This is Dispassion again. Even the religious rites which are governed by injunctions and prohibitions make a man fall into this samsara, even as water flows from a higher place to a lower one. They bewilder and confuse a person. The unreal, by persistent apprehension, seems to be real. Hence, since essentially the unreal is unreal, it is unreal, though it may appear to be real. But people are deluded, and they run after the objects of sense pleasure, even as a river runs down fast to reach self-destruction in the ocean. The ignorant mind rushes towards sense enjoyment like an arrow released from a bow, and it is not interested in goodness. I think we must take goodness in a particular sense here, as opposed to goodness which arises from self-denial. Pleasure is dreadful pain, prosperity is adversity, sensual enjoyment is the worst disease, and pursuit of pleasure is disgusting. It's basically because all these things lead us into a rut, dead end. We just end up going round in the same old cycle. Even when the source of pleasure has lost its savour, we still repeat it. We get into joyless self-indulgence. We need something to shake us out of that. Adversity is a great blessing. Happiness is followed by unhappiness. Life ends in death. Aha, the power of Maya. Sensual pleasure is worse than the most poisonous snake. The former kills instantly by the merest contact. It's because it sucks you in and you lose the sense of your greater identity. Since wealth, etc., cause delusion, they are worse than poison. It is true that pleasure is enjoyable and affluence is beautiful, but life is fleeting, and hence they are rendered meaningless. Pleasure and wealth are pleasing on the surface, but the end is unhappiness and sorrow. With the advancing of age, the hairs turn grey and the teeth and everything else, the faculties and vitality, etc., decrease. Only craving does not decrease. There is a similarity between childhood and youth. Both pass away quickly. Life ebbs away like a flowing river, and the past can never be recovered. So this is a very thorough dispassion, which is the base of spiritual practice. After a long time I have attained egolessness. I am not interested in heavenly pleasures. Like you, O sage, I too long to resort to a secluded place. Hence I saw that hermitage in space. I did not realize that it was your hermitage, and that you would one day return to it. I did not pay attention to it. Only now I know this. Only when one's attention is directed to these facts does one perceive them with one's inner eye of intelligence. Then one knows the past, present and future, not until then. Such is the nature of the mind, even to the gods. Reality is what our attention is focused on at any moment. Vasistha continued, I said to the sage, having heard your story, I think that you should continue to live in that hermitage in outer space. Get up and let us live in the world of the perfected beings, the siddhas. It is good for each one to live in his own environment, which does not cause mental distraction. Both of us rose into space. We saluted each other and took leave of each other. He went where he thought fit, and I parted from him and went my own way. That's an interesting point about living in the appropriate environment. And I think for the purposes of spiritual practice, we have to take as appropriate the environment in which we find ourselves.